All right, y'all, brand new tournament. This is tournament 1. First up, we have the Porsche Carrera 911 RS 2.7 versus a C6 Corvette. They head to the line. Who's gonna win it? The C6 pulls a crazy maneuver in turn number 1 and beats the Porsche in race number 1. They head to race number 2, they switch lanes, and they're out of there. The Corvette spins around and was able to take the win in race number 2. He will win this best of 3 and move on to the next round.
Welcome back, mates. Next up in Tournament 1, we have the McLaren Speedtail racing against the Nissan 180SX rocking a beautiful Greddy livery. Who will take this one? Almost blowing it at the finish line, the McLaren takes race number 1. They switch lanes and they are out of there for race number 2. Not a good day for all you Nissan fans. The McLaren Speedtail takes it in 2 races and moves on to the next round.
Yeah, make all the demons quiet. Yeah, we were built to thrive. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night? Yeah, make all the demons quiet. Yeah, we were built to thrive. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. It's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night? Yeah, make all the demons quiet. Yeah, we were built to thrive. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night? Yeah, make all the demons quiet. Yeah, we were built to thrive. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough.
Next up in Tournament 1, we have the Aston Martin V8 Vantage racing against the Mazda RX-7. And folks, if you like the displays you have on the wall that are holding these cars, know that they are available at tinytrackcars.com. You can order those directly from Tiny Track Cars. They will come to your house ready to hang, and you can have a beautiful car display just like we do here in our studio. The Vantage spins over but is able to hold the lead. The RX-7 bumps him and sends him down the track. The Aston Martin takes race number 1. They head back to the line and switch lanes. RX-7 in that far lane, Aston Martin in the close lane. Aston Martin out with an early lead as they go down into the dip. Will he stick the landing? He sticks the landing, slides into the turn, and takes off down the track, and looks like he will win race number 2 and move on to the next round. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget we have plenty of long-form content on our YouTube page, Tiny Track Cars. Check us out. Wrapping up round 1 with group number 8 of Tournament 1, the Mercedes-AMG GT takes on the 2013 Dodge Viper. The Viper has an early lead, flies flat over that jump, and takes off down the track. It looks like he will be victorious, not even giving the Mercedes-Benz a chance. Mercedes-Benz comes trotting across the finish line. Something tells me the result is going to be the same in race number 2, but they do switch positions and they're out of there. The Viper using that raw horsepower and getting out front early down over the jump, landing slightly nose heavy but recovers perfectly fine, and he is off to the races, folks, and we do not see that Mercedes-Benz anywhere to be found. The Dodge Viper will move on to round number 2. Follow along for round 2 action coming soon. All right, we got the first epic matchup of round 2 of Tournament 1. We have the Corvette C6 versus the Toyota Supra. Who's gonna win it? The Supra takes the early lead into turn number 1, and he is out in front. He goes down the dip, little sideways, and rolls it over, and he blows it The Supra is clearly faster, but the C6 is going to win the first one. That is not looking good for the Supra. Is he going to blow it in races 2 and 3? Because, folks, this is going to a third race, which is the tiebreaker. The Supra is out front again, despite being in the other lane. Lands it clean, does a little tail slide after the landing, and takes off to the finish line and wins race number 2. The score is tied 1-1 from the C6 and the Supra. The Supra out front again. This jump is gonna be the deal breaker, make or break. Will he land it? He is a little nose heavy, spins to the side. The C6 catches up. Will he be able to make the pass as they go into the last turn? The Supra is out front and the Supra holds him off and takes the win and moves on. Next up in round 2, we have the McLaren Speedtail taking on the Nissan 370Z. Both of these cars have proved to be fast in round number 1. The 370Z, sorry, was a little bit squirrely, but he did pull off the victory. Let's see what happens here in this one against the Speedtail. Side by side over the jump, the Speedtail pulls ahead just a little bit, an advantage down to the finish line. Speedtail slides sideways just slightly, but holds onto it and finishes first to move on to race number 2, 1 win to 0. Speedtail out front early, but the Nissan's got the inside lane coming up. Over the jump they go, almost side by side again. The Speedtail cuts off the 370Z. Open truck ahead of him, he should be okay. He spins around backwards, the 350Z runs into him, but the Speedtail in reverse is able to take the win and move on to round number 3. All right, next up in tournament number 1, we have Group 3 of round 2. We have the Bugatti EB110 versus the Lotus Elise. This is a battle of the exotics, folks. Who will take the win here in this race? The Bugatti on the inside, down over the jump first. He lands it rough and spins over. The Lotus takes the advantage on the outside, and he will win the first race by a landslide because that Bugatti gets a big DNF. They switch lanes, and they're out of there. The Bugatti out front early on again, but the Lotus takes the inside lane and down over the jump first. A little bit of a bump in the landing there, but he is off to the races. Bugatti backwards in the background and is unable to catch the Lotus. The Lotus will move on to the next round. All right, we got the last group in round number 2. Which one of these cars will move on to the final 4 in round number 3? We have the Aston Martin V8 Vantage in white and the Dodge Viper in green. They're out of there. The Viper has the early lead, but the Vantage takes the inside in lane number 2, lands a little nose heavy and rolls it to the side, and the Viper takes advantage. The Viper is off to the races, but he spins sideways, but he's able to finish in reverse and takes the win in race number 1. They switch lanes and they're out of there for race number 2. Again, the Vantage out front. Will he stick the landing this time? He does stick the landing, but the Viper is right on his tail. The Vantage is fast and he is out of there. Both of them do a synchronized spin around and cross the finish line in reverse, folks. This is race number 3. And the winner of this one goes on to the final 4. Vantage lands hard again and blows it. The Viper does get around again. The Vantage just sealed his own fate, and the Viper takes the win in race number 3 and moves on. All right, y'all, the start of the final 4. Get excited. We have the Toyota Supra racing against the McLaren Speedtail. Good old JDM 2JZ versus exotic power. Who will win this one? The Supra down over the jump first. He sticks to landing. The Speedtail spins out. He might be out of this one. The Supra takes the win in race number 1, and somehow that Speedtail got loose and was able to make it down the track. They switch lanes. The Supra's faster, that big turbo spooling, but down over the jump side by side. Supra spins over on his hood, gets hit by the McLaren, and the McLaren has an open track to take the win in race number 2, folks. This will go to a third race, the tiebreaker. Here is the tiebreaker, and this car, the winner of this tournament, the winner of this race, will go to the finals. The finals of this tournament 1. It is the Toyota Supra with the Speedtail on his tail. The Toyota Supra holds him off and takes the win, moving to the finals. All right, y'all, we're getting close to the end of Tournament 1. The winner of this battle will head to our finals to race the Toyota Supra. We have the Lotus Elise in the far lane and the Dodge Viper in the close lane. They're out of there for race number 1, side by side into turn number 2. They're over the jump, and the Lotus lands front heavy and flips over to the side, and the Viper gets by. Look at the Viper will take number 1 and go up 1, race 2-0. They switch lanes, and they're out of there. It looks like the Lotus wins the drag race into turn number 1. Down over the dip they go, both landing clean, but the Viper spins out after landing, and the Lotus will take race number 2. And folks, Viper comes around backwards into the finish line. And this right here, the winner of this third race, the tiebreaker, will move on to race the Toyota Supra in the finals. And folks, that is going to be a good race no matter who shows up. And it looks like it might be the Lotus because the Viper just bit it over the jump. Folks, the Lotus will move on and race the Supra in the finals. All right, folks, the moment you've all been waiting for, the finals of tournament number 1. We have the Toyota Supra versus the Lotus Elise. The Supra in the far lane, Elise close to us. The Supra pulls the early pole shot, and down and into the jump he goes. A perfect landing. He's out of there. The Lotus is spinning around in the background. As you can see, the Supra is off to the races, and he takes race number 1, almost pulling a wheelie down the last straightaway, showing his true speed and horsepower. They switch lanes. They're into race number 2. Supra out front again early. As long as he can stick this jump, that Lotus might be out of it. He does stick the jump. The Lotus again spins sideways, and the Supra travels on the track for the last and final time and takes the victory in Tournament 1. Thank you so much for following along with Tournament 1. We'll be announcing our cars in Tournament 2 very shortly. If you have any requests, put them in the comments. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next one.